Hello, I'm Pat Rodgers and I worship at All Saints. Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 to 27. Jesus got into the boat and his disciples went with him. Suddenly, a fierce storm hit the lake so that the waves covered the boat. But Jesus was asleep. The disciples went to him and woke him up. "Save us, Lord," they said. "We are about to die." "Why are you so frightened?" Jesus answered. "How little faith you have." Then he got up and gave a command to the wind and the waves, and there was a great calm. Everyone was amazed. "What kind of man is this?" they said. "Even the wind and the waves obey him." The Gospel of Matthew was written for Jewish Christians. And when I was reading this passage in the Good News Bible, I suddenly realized the difference in the wording to the other Bible versions. In those versions, it says that the disciples followed Jesus into the boat. The writer of Matthew's Gospel is the only one to use "followed" in the telling of this story. Some of the previous verses 19 to 22 of this chapter, were about people wanting to follow Jesus, and Jesus saying that following him would not be easy. The story of the calming of the storm in Matthew's Gospel is more than just the retelling of a miracle. It is a story of discipleship, a warning of its difficulties, and the reward of faith. It is also a sign of who Jesus was. In the Old Testament, God is often shown calming storms. For example, Psalm 65, verse 7. "You calm the clamor of the oceans and the clamor of its waves." Matthew's readers would have been familiar with this. And also, this is possibly why the disciples asked, "What kind of man is this?" So this simple story has much to tell about Jesus and discipleship. Now, thinking around this story took my thoughts to a time many years ago when I was in a small boat in a storm and very scared. My first husband and I were camping on the Isle of Skye, and we were offered the chance to be taken out in a boat on the nearby sea loch. The trip arranged by the barman of the hotel overlooking the loch. All seemed well when we set off, but after about 20 minutes, the weather took a nasty turn. A storm blew up, and the waves were splashing into the boat. I turned round to ask the boatman to take us back to shore, and in my horror, I saw that he'd let go of the tiller on the small outboard engine and was crouching down, whimpering at the bottom of the boat. My husband managed to get past him, grab the outboard, and eventually get us safely to land. We beached the boat and the frightened man ran away. Climbing the steep steps to the hotel bar, we were still shaking from our experience. The locals, who had really not taken much notice of us and always had spoken Gaelic, suddenly were all smiles and spoke in English. We had been set up because we, to them, were foreigners. They knew the boatman had a problem, but they were sure we would be fine, and anyway, they were watching and they would have come to help. But were they helping the boatman? He obviously had some mental health issues. Now that was back in 1966. I learned then what it was like to feel other in some way. But in those days, such attitudes were regarded as acceptable in many quarters, which did not make it right. Our lives had been put in danger for a joke because we were seen as different. People are still put in danger because they are seen as other or different. An example of this is what has happened recently in America. But all lives matter. Jesus said, "Treat others as you would want to be treated." If we want to be followers of Jesus, we have no choice. Let us pray. Father, when the storm rages and life is in turmoil, when the wind blows and waves threaten to engulf us, grant that even then our souls will be at peace, secure in the constancy of your love. Amen.